What is up, car addicts? In this video, I'll be giving a visual guide for this week's normal time trial, RC Bandito time trial, and the premium race totaling over $400,000. Note that the time trial can only be completed once a week for the full payout. The premium race, however, can be completed in a limited amount of times with a 48-minute cooldown between each win. So, starting off with the time trial this week, which is Galileo Park, I highly recommend a fast motorcycle such as the Hakuchi Drag or Shotaro for this time trial. Now, if you're going to use a car, I highly recommend one of the F1 cars, as this time trial has a lot of corners. It is possible with many other vehicles as well, like the Emirates or Krieger, but the F1 cars are by far the easiest to complete the time trial in my opinion. This time trial really only has one small shortcut, but the rest of it is just following the GPS route. Pretty simple, and you will have plenty of extra time left over towards the end, making it even easier to finish if you happen to make a mistake during the time trial, which is highly likely because there is a lot of traffic in some areas and around some of the blind corners, but for the most part, even me, I made a mistake in this time trial and I still had time left over at the end. Moving on to this week's RC Bandito time trial, which is Vespucci Canals. As always, you need to own an RC Bandito in order to participate in these. So this week's RC time trial is actually paying out double money, meaning you can get $200,000 for completing it, which is awesome. Now, of course, Rockstar did not put an easy time trial for this week. They didn't want to make it that easy for us. This one is a little more difficult if you've never done it before because of all the constant jumps, bumps, pedestrians, tight areas, and the traffic during the crossover sections. So the biggest tip I can give is to let off the throttle when you're in the air off a jump. That is very important so that it does not go on two wheels when it lands. Also, there are a lot of sections where you have to use your brakes, so when you use your brakes, make sure to press them in about halfway or a little more than halfway. Do not press them all the way in or you will lose control of the Bandito when you brake. And lastly, we have this week's premium race, which is Crossing Paths. This one is restricted to the Sports Classics class. I highly recommend either the Turismo Classic, Cheetah Classic, Rapid GT Classic, or the Retinue Mark II for this race. Now, I personally prefer the Rapid GT Classic for this specific premium race because I just personally feel very comfortable with it on this specific track. But one of the best ones and the most consistent is the Cheetah Classic for this specific track in my opinion. Now, if you've never done this race before, I highly recommend attempting the standard version of it first so you can get familiar with it. I highly recommend doing that. And that's it, guys. The normal time trial this week is pretty easy if you're in an F1 car. The RC time trial is paying out double money, but is a little more difficult than most of the time trials. And this week's premium race is a little tricky if you've never done it before. Again, remember guys, you can earn over $400,000 between the three for this week, and setting yourself to go to beat them is always a lot of fun in my personal opinion. Let me know down below which one you found most difficult and what vehicles you use down below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.